Proving parts of triangles congruent. This is unit 4-4, and it is problem number 1. Proving parts of a triangle congruent? Well, that's new. We have been proving triangles congruent. Well, the best way to do this is to think about your strategy. First of all, if I know that the triangles are congruent, then I'll know that all of the parts of the congruent are correct. So if all the parts, so then probably my best strategy is to prove the triangles congruent still, and then just take it one step further to say that the parts are congruent. So check this out. My goal here is to prove that KB is congruent to CA. Oh, well, that's just, those are corresponding parts. So let's go ahead and prove the triangle's congruent. This is going to change the proof a little bit. Notice that I'm going to plop in my triangle congruence on the second to last line so that I can just take it one step further to prove the parts congruent. So with triangle congruence right there, I think that I am noticing with the information I'm given that it looks like that I have A, and then I can probably prove that to congruent to itself, so that's S, AAS for this one. I'm going to go ahead and put my reminders up here. So let's start out with that first angle to prove this guy congruent, these guys congruent. Angle K is congruent to angle A. How do I know? That's given. I'm noticing that angle B or angle CB, I should say KBC, is going to be congruent to ACB, and that is given as well. Then the side BC congruent to BC, that is the reflexive property of congruence. And so then I have my proof done. My triangles are congruent, correct? Well, let's take it that one step further, because they did not ask for the triangles to be proved congruent. If I know that the triangles are, if I have proved that the triangles are congruent, then I can say that all of the corresponding parts are congruent. They just happen to want to know this one, so let's go ahead and plop that one in. The way that I say that this one is congruent is with this new law that you're going to need to know. The new law is corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. I abbreviate that this way. I don't think you need to write out the whole thing. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That's how I abbreviate it. Let's try one more. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ADE. Again, if I'm going to prove that angle C is congruent to angle E, just parts of the triangle, then I need to prove the whole triangle is congruent so that I can go ahead and prove that the parts of the corresponding parts of the triangles are congruent. I'm going to go ahead and put down that the triangles are congruent on this line so that I leave one space down below for the last one. I'm noticing that I can do this with SAS. Check it out. I have this one, then I've got this one here. I can tell that that's congruent because they are vertical angles. And then I have this one here. So that's a side, an angle, and a side. And I have that on the other one too. Side, angle, side. So I'm going to go ahead and plop in my reminders here. SAS. BA congruent to DA, notice that is given. Then I have BAC congruent to angle DAE. That's because the vertical angles are, because we know that vertical angles are congruent. Then I have CA congruent to AE. That's also a given. Okay, so now I have proven that the triangles are congruent. I can just move one step further. Angle C is congruent to angle E. And that's because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Nice job, everybody.